DIY. KevOnStage talks about one particular outlet that I think is going to make some of us look at all of the outlets with a different kind of side eye. Here's him talking about something that happened on the reporting of what happened with Jamie Foxx by an outlet called Rap TV.
First of all, I'm sad that Jamie Foxx's daughter Corinne had to even refute this Rap TV post that said the family was reportedly preparing for the worst. I'm glad that she said that Jamie's been out of the hospital for weeks and recuperating, even played pickleball. But I'm mad that Rap TV even got this rumor started. So I asked myself, who is Rap TV?
So before he gets into this, which is going to be a masterful work in research, to kind of preface this, Jamie Foxx has been going through a health concern that has had him in the hospital for a prolonged amount of time. The family was being very careful about what information got out there because it's a personal matter. I know it's a celebrity, a public person, but it's a personal matter. A story came out from Rap TV that said the family is preparing for the worst. And the family's like, the hell did that come from? Because it wasn't from us. I have a feeling some of these outlets do this recklessly, not just because it's content, but because they want you to refute their obvious lies to create more content.
Because they make all these posts about black people, hip hop communities, this and that. Who are these people that they could get a rumor going like this that she had to refute? And look who owns Rap TV. Does this look like the person you thought owned Rap TV?
This story couldn't get wrote any better if it was written by AI. The owner, who happens to be a white guy, his last name is Snow. Jeez. It sounds like ChatGPT wrote this one. It's a racially based horror movie. And the culprit, Mr. Snow. Like, that's wild.
Who else works at Rap TV? Let's just take a look. I went down to the LinkedIn. I said, well, who's over here? Who's in charge of the post? Well, look who we got here. Look at the head of content. Look at Griffin Fromm. Wow, he's the head of content for Rap TV. Look at Jordan Mordini. He's the head of music partnerships at Rap TV. Look at Logan Stout, operations manager Rap TV. Look at Tyler Perry. That ain't the Tyler Perry I thought would be associated with Rap TV.
It ain't that Tyler Perry, but that's a Tyler Perry for sure.
Why are people who look like this whole business, Rap TV, look at their Instagram, look at their posts, look at the faces of the people on the post. Look who they create stories about. Look how many followers they got just on Instagram. 10 million just on Instagram. On Twitter, they go viral all the time. They are apparently, according to them, the biggest hip hop community in the world. Daniel Snow's been a proven expert that's launched viral e-commerce brands himself over the course of 3.5 years, generating close to $50 million in revenue. Off of who?
$50 million in revenue.
Off of what? These are the people behind Rap TV. And I'm not saying rap is only for black people and black culture.
Neither am I.
But they're creating stories that are false. Got the actual family of Jamie Foxx saying, oh, man, this ain't even true. Who is starting these rumors? And look who it is. Now, I love Jamie Foxx. You know, I'm scared for him, praying for him, but I'm waiting for the family to say he's okay. But every day we got to deal with rumors like this. And then Rap TV gonna post her post and act like they aren't the ones that she's responding to.
They posted a very reckless post that obviously had not been pulled from a reliable source. If they were the ones to break it, that's even dirtier. But let's assume they weren't the ones to break it. You put up a reckless post and you don't say, hey, our bad. That was irresponsible journalism. You post up the rebuttal to make it seem like our platform is so big, assuming our platform is so big that we got the official scoop now because of our prior posts. No kind of apology at all. And they're not the only ones who do this.
It's just content to them. It don't matter what
Bingo.
happens, who gets mad, none of that stuff. It's just content for them. They use that content to get brand deals and partnerships because we follow them and we click on them and they profit off a culture they didn't create. They benefit from it. And their top 10, 15 people on their LinkedIn, I don't see nobody who looks like a rapper. Come on.
I understand that I have an audience that is full of many different backgrounds, many different regions, many different participants in music and in hip hop culture. I don't say this to alienate. I don't share this to race bait. I don't say this to come from a place of understanding of only one side of things, but try to see it from this perspective. If whatever your culture, if it's not black culture, if whatever your culture is, and the pride that you may have within that culture, if the news that is shared about your culture on a regular basis, it has all the most prominent faces, the most famous faces from your culture, if someone is representing that, wouldn't you want at least one person to be there? Maybe the content manager who has some kind of understanding about, in my particular culture, this may not be accepted. So maybe you guys shouldn't run this story. You would think that that would be actually pretty valuable, a pretty valuable asset to have somebody from the culture that you're covering be the bridge in understanding if this is accurate. Now, this is not anything new. This happens to hip hop culture all the time. And a lot of times it's our fault because we consume it. I consume it. Obviously, I saw that particular post. We consume it. We give away the culture so easily, and it creates these opportunities where somebody could make $50 million and nobody would ever even know their name if you didn't never look up that name on LinkedIn. What would you assume that Instagram was being run by? There are nothing but black faces all across this platform. And they're not stories that appeal to the most positive images of us. They're whatever that's going to create clicks. As KevOnStage said, the culture is not one that can only be covered by one culture. Absolutely not. Hip hop itself is a collection of many different cultures, many different perspectives, and thank God that it is, because we're able to hear stories from places that we've never seen before. But that's their stories. When you see this kind of reckless journalism, it displays two things to me that I feel like are changing, and I'm glad they're changing. One, because of folks like KevOnStage taking it upon themselves to raise questions, no accusations, just raise questions, it causes for certain people to question where they're getting their information from whom they're getting these messages fed to them. You ever be on social media and you just feel like, damn, I have been consuming a lot of junk food, like mental junk food. A lot of these platforms, their only concern is the bottom line. And when that's your only concern, you're not thinking about the ethics or the look of how it looks. You're thinking about the bottom line. Now, you don't want to do anything that's going to sacrifice the bottom line, but you're also not going to do anything that is going to lift up the very culture that you're covering. Why? Because this ain't nothing but another lick for you. This is nothing but another opportunity for you to make money off of culture that you don't seem to quite understand too well. The second thing that I'm starting to understand, this is why media is changing and why it has to change. Because a rapper would not create this sequence of events because they live by a different code. If rappers, as they are right now, become media and they cover hip hop, you get a different perspective of the things that they value as a former rapper or as an active rapper. I'm an example of it. As an artist, as a producer, I am feeding you stories that are not meant to be junk food for you. I got two rules. Can I add value to this topic? Can it add value to what you have going on? Everybody has their reasons for doing what they're doing, and I understand business is business in some people's eyes. But I do feel like this is where the culture vulture conversation comes up, and it doesn't just apply to one race. It applies to any race that is recklessly covering another one's culture without the proper sensitivity, without the proper understanding of how this shit right here ain't right. I try to imagine these folks outside of their celebrity skin that they live within, that they can't do anything about. They are who they are. And I think about the families who see these things. And I think about how reckless that shit is when you're talking about just human beings and doing human beings like that. But I'm so glad that the rappers and that producers and artists are taking over media. When I see shout out to AD and the community and Ace Pun and T-Rail and Smack, and I see MacWop and all of these folks getting into media, I get excited because it's like they're going to give a different perspective that comes from experience and not looking at people as a way to make money off of them, an easy dollar, an easy flip. And it's not just media companies. There are also plug-in companies that do the same shit with us. Producers. There are plug-in companies that know how to sound black. They know how to write copy that's black. They know how to get us arguing with each other. They know how to get right up in the middle of our culture. And then when shit gets too hot, they know how to wash their hands with it and back away. Rinse and repeat every time they drop something new. That is why it's important for us to become the new media. The new media voices, because look at who's running the quote-unquote best outlet for the media. How can it be the best outlet and it doesn't include anybody from the industry that you are covering? I feel like I'm in Wally World sometimes. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Make this shit make sense.
DIY.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't get greedy. Peace.